Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Shivalon Faithful. My name is Doug. It is good to have you back. For those that have been here before, it's good to have you back. And for those who are new to this channel and seeing this podcast as part of my YouTube channel, Shivalon Faithful, for the first time, welcome you aboard. So it's good to have you there. Hope you enjoy what you're seeing here. Uh, I will ask you if you will. I'm going to keep this relatively short, but I want to begin by asking you, as I've asked before, and you've heard this 1,000 times before from other podcast sites as well. I know that. I know. And it drives you nuts, I guess. But to help me reach more people with good and interesting and uplifting and encouraging stories and discussions, to reach more people, and we need the more good out there, not bad. That's what I'm trying to do with information that's pertinent, so we're aware, and then also with uplifting stuff as well, a mixture of that in good ways. Please please like, and please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. The last two videos I put out, we have had more people doing that, so I do appreciate them for coming on board. I really am appreciative of that. Please like, subscribe, comment, as I got a comment on my last video, which is a really good comment, and something I had not thought about, and I responded positively to the lady who wrote me in the comment, and share with other good people. So please subscribe and like and comment. I would appreciate it. I want to talk about something here. It is July 16th, 2025. It's Wednesday, mid-afternoon. I'm here in northern part of Utah. I want to talk about a couple of things here, stories. Uh, they're both national stories. They're separate from each other totally. But before I begin, I want to talk about a private experience that I had with my son many years ago. Not really private, but something that did not hit the news, of course. In my last video, I stated I was going to start telling really short stories about this and that, things out of left field, so to speak, uh, in addition to any national or international topics I may be covering in those same videos. So I'm going to continue doing that. Today, I want to talk about that story. It's a true story. It's back when my son was many years ago, when my son was about 5 or 6 years old. We were living inside Salt Lake City. I now live in one of the suburbs of Salt Lake. But that was when my son and I were living in the city. Uh, we went for a walk. It was about probably 5 or 6 or 7. I think it was summertime. And the sun was getting closer and closer to sunset. I'm not sure what time it was, but it was. We went for a walk. Went to a local park that's really close. As we walked in there, shortly after we got in there, and we were just briefly standing there, my son and I side by side, just talking to one another. All of a sudden, a large group of dragonflies, not flies, dragonflies, came flying from out of the park. We were near the edge of it, where there's a little wrought iron fence. It was a really small park uh, in Salt Lake City. So I had a little fence next, and the other side of that was uh, the sidewalk, and then the thoroughfare, the street. Anyway, they came from outside that direction. Well, actually, from the direction of where the sun was, it was coming toward us. At first, I didn't see them because of the glare of the sun, but all of a sudden, found ourselves encircled by dragonflies and circling around. They were about the height of my head. My son was quite a bit shorter than me at that time, Uh, and he was never scared, never yelled out, never tried to swat away at these things, nor myself. We kept quiet and we just observed what we thought was a wonderful, marvelous act of nature, part of nature that I've never seen before or since. But there's probably 50 to 100. I'm not exaggerating. There are about 50 to 100. I've never seen more than probably two or three together at a time in my life before and since. But this is about 50 to 100 came out of nowhere and they just encircled us. We're flying around. And probably, what do you call that, diameter, uh, that's how close they were circling around, like they were checking us out. Maybe they're saying hello in the best way the dragonflies can to people. But that at first I was surprised. I was concerned that they might attack, as if dragonflies can attack my son. But when they just kept on circling and circling, they never did anything else. And there was that great number, and that lasted for about a minute, which may not sound like a long time. But you think about it, 1001, 1002, 1003, multiply that times 60. So it was give or take about a minute. But that was a long time for them to be doing that. Remember, we were quiet all that time, just looking at them. My son was looking up at them, and I was looking straight at them because they're at my level, my head. And they weren't that close. Remember, they had a little bit of distance. So um, then they left. Then they just left after about a minute of doing that. I don't know how many revolutions, but they did it not really slow. They did it quickly. They circled really quick. They were flying really quick. So they made a lot of revolutions around us. Then they took off. Never saw them again. I've never seen that before or since. Before or since. Never have. And my son and I talked about that briefly, and we were both astounded. And once again, he was never scared. He was just that kind of a boy and a young man. He was never scared. He was able to deal with all things with a lot of courage. Really was. Uh, Act of nature. Fantastic. Dragonflies. Now, two major stories I want to talk about. Uh, Before I do, don't forget, like and subscribe. Say, don't forget, please. Uh, First one's going to be a shorter one topic. Department of Education. The Federal Department of Education. We got the green light, so to speak, from the Supreme Court recently. In effect, in effect, where they can now cut it down. And I hope and expect that Linda McMahon, who's the Secretary of the Treasury under President Trump, with his direction, of course, and approval, will find a way to close that baby down once and for all. It was not created part of the Constitution of the United States, so it's not necessary to have it. It was just something that's thought up of. I think it was in the 1970s. I think it's when it was created. A bad idea. So ever since we've had that, the level of education in our nation with our children has gone down, down, down. I remember what it was when I was going to school. It was high. A lot was expected of us. And I graduated in 1970. And this was created about 5 or 8 years after that, I think. So it's been of no good to our country, and most importantly, no good to our children. And I hope they close it down because we need to have that education in our country uh, under the auspices of the individual states, and much more importantly than that, the localities, more than the state level. The state localities should really have 90% of the influence and power right there. So I'm glad. I hope that that gets shut down, that Department of Education. The other topic I want to talk about is Epstein files. I want to talk about this real quick. Guess I'm really disappointed. I've been a big supporter of President Trump. I voted for him, and I appreciate and support 95% of the Make America Great Again policies. I'm a constitutional conservative, most of all, above and beyond all that. And I believe in God and in all good things that our nation used to do and should continue to do. Good traditions, not bad, but good traditions to keep them going. But the Epstein files, he has recently, in the last few days, has pretty much tried to put a stop to any further discussion about the files. And his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, in her last communication, one of the last ones in effect, have said that there's no Epstein client files. No one believes that with a head on their shoulders. Anyone who's got a brain knows that that's not true. There must be some power out there, or people or organizations out there that are unknown to us with a lot of power in this nation and or the world that are putting the squeeze on President Trump not to release it. That's all I got to say. Because he promised that they would be released when he's campaigning. Now he's backed off entirely. Uh, that's got to be straightened out, and they have got to be released. Not the victim files, the client files that were doing these heinous things to children. I love you all. I love you all. Thanks for being here. And remember, Be strong and of good courage. Until we meet again. Take care.